Okay, there's no changes to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Our first item is indigent business.
Yes, Chantal Laulu with Indigent Services. The first case that we have for you is case number 2020-0253. This application was submitted for cremation expenses through Cornelson Funeral Home in the amount of $1,200. The application was submitted by the funeral home, and all the information that we obtained was through the state's website. The deceased is a 85-year-old male, considered a Bannock County resident, and was a veteran, eligible for a $300 burial cremation benefit. With the information that we did obtain, it appears that the deceased is eligible for assistance through the indigent program. Our recommendation is a partial approval of this application. The county agrees to supplement the amount of the $300 benefit, matching the $1,200 contractual payment to the funeral home. So our recommendation is a $900 approval at this time, and there is no family members responsible parties available for reimbursement of this request.
Motion.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the partial, or approve a partial approval. That's stupid. That's the rephrase that. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve a partial approval. Thank you. There we go. For case number 2020-0253.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So you look at them pretty close now.
What's
Make
that?
sure they've been cremated.
Yes, please.
Just asking.
Did you want to talk about this one, that one a little bit more?
Yes.
The possibilities that might come later?
So the funeral home has expressed a concern that there's a possibility they might not be able to obtain the $300 payment for the veteran benefit. So we did put a little bit of a caveat on that if they were able to provide some documentation that they were not eligible to obtain that payment, that we would bring it back to the commission for possible reconsideration for that $300 for a payment in full for the $1,200.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
No.
And then they would have to submit that documentation to prove that they were not able to obtain that payment.
Okay.
Okay.
Make sure that the funeral homes are doing their due diligence in their investigation.
Their part is.
The next case that we have for you is case number 2020-0255. This application is submitted for burial expenses through Wilkes Funeral Home in the Mountain View Cemetery in the amount of $1,500. The application was submitted by the mother of the deceased, and all of the information that we obtained was from the mother as well as the state's website. The deceased was a 27-year-old male. He is considered a Bannock County resident and was not a veteran. With the information that we did obtain, it does appear that the deceased does meet the criteria to be eligible for assistance, and Bannock County is the last resource for payment of these final expenses. The mother has committed to a repayment plan upon approval of this application.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve case number 2020-0255.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
The next case that we have for you is case number 2020-0250. It's a recommendation of a denial for cremation expenses through Cornelson Funeral Home in the amount of $1,200 pursuant to Idaho Code 313403. The county is not last resource. The deceased appears to have the resources available to cover the expenses requested. Bannock County does not appear to be the last resource for payment of these final expenses. And for case number 2020-0254, a recommendation of a denial for cremation expenses through Wilkes Funeral Home pursuant to Idaho Code 31340317. The deceased does not appear to be a Bannock County resident. Bannock County is not the obligated county for payment of these final expenses.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we deny case numbers 2020-0250 and 0254.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Like I say, just looking at them,
Yep.
are they doing their due diligence as a funeral home or just up wanting us to pay?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll say, all of the funeral homes really do a good job. We do have one problem child that we're gonna probably have a discussion in the next few weeks about even using them. I'm gonna talk with the coroner. They're paying with everyone.
Request.
So we're gonna talk about that. If we have to use all of them, if one of them doesn't want to follow the rules.
I think you could bid it out just like you do a professional service and say, this is the rate, this is what we do, and this is how you will follow it, and we do it just like land surveyors. and we just, the next one up gets the next.
That's essentially what we do now. I'd like to take one of them.
But
out of the
we'll know what you
rotation.
do is, yeah, but that's, and set your list. And if they don't want to follow the rules, they're not on the list. That's it. That's all you.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in the next little bit.
Okay. If you guys need help.
Thank
with
you.
that or anything.
All right,
Pain in the
Mayor Max and crew, go ahead, come on up, pull some chairs around.
Thank you, Commissioner. We had a
Bob was awesome.
transportation study done a few years ago. I've made a few copies of,
There we go. We're good. And then we have one for the record. We'll kick down.
Kyle better have one of these.
Make sure Kyle knows what he's doing. You know. There's your instructions, Kyle. That's what he's trying to.
So, what started this discussion originally was when the county paved from the edge of Ecom up Jackson Creek Road.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be a really nice overlay for that road, and we thought if we could piggyback on a project that the county was doing sometime and do Rapid Creek Road as well, it would be a great chance for us to improve our street through there. And
So when you say Rapid Creek, you're saying from down at the edge where Jackson Creek stopped, you
Yeah.
bring it all the way down Rapid Creek?
just down to the underpass,
Okay.
just short of the underpass. That whole thing will be tore up in the next 5 years for a new bridge there, so
Yeah, don't want to do a government
wanna-
job and pave
yeah.
it just to rip it up.
it's just about a mile, isn't it, Kyle? We
Yeah.
measure it when we talked before, so it's just about 1 mile of paving, and just a simple overlay.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked to Kyle, we talked about piggybacking on this Pidcock project, which I see is going on now,
Mhm.
Pavers in Ecom. And so that's what we were hoping to do, is to have the crew come when they're done with the Pidcock project and just do a simple overlay from the edge of the city limits down to the bridge there. I know oil prices have changed in the last year, but when we talked to Kyle originally, it was gonna be around $150,000, which we have in our road budget. It'd be a simple thing for us to pay for and do right away. If we go beyond a simple overlay like we're proposing, then it gets into the bidding aspects of private versus county, and then our budget's not there to just simply be able to say, okay, let's do it.
So what prep do you have to do prior to that? You grinding it all, or any
Not for
surface
what we have-
prep, or are you just gonna clean it and go?
I had our road supervisor Rowdy look at it, and we can just do a simple overlay.
So would you do a 2.5-inch lift?
Mhm.
Okay. Mm.
We have a little bit of curb and gutter on that street, and we'll just tuck it, so it actually makes a little ditch along the curb so the water
Yeah.
rate stays in better. So it works out really well for what they can do.
It just pushes it all to my house.
When are you guys looking to do this?
Well, I was just kinda gonna get a little more on legal end of things of what we can do with an interagency agreement.
So
Is
you,
where I was at with it.
I think you can do an MOU with, and it wouldn't be a problem to have the county do it. We'd want to make it very clear and transparent. I would actually ask that on the decision end of it, we wait to have Jeff here because your house is on that road. And I would prefer to have all three commissioners not in there. I mean, it's very obviously, it was quite funny, actually. We paved Jackson Creek Road, and where does it stop?
Randy Armstrong's house.
Representative Armstrong's house. You want to talk about how many people called me? I don't know how he did this or what he did, but I want an investigation for having this road paved to his house. I asked these guys, do you know whose house that is? No. Okay.
One of the things that these papers that I copied and highlighted shows is that most of the traffic that goes up Rapid Creek Road is not
Yeah, it's not.
City of Ecom traffic.
That's not.
They had counters when they did this study, and most of the traffic goes through Ecom, not to Ecom.
They all have a four-wheeler or a snowmobile on back end.
Yeah. So just so you know, from my perspective, I don't actually have a problem with the county doing this.
Okay.
As long as the costs are covered and it's not the taxpayers outside of the city of Income subsidizing.
Right.
Now, there is some incurred cost that some intrinsic value of like we have equipment and stuff, and you try and capture that equipment cost of rental prices in your road stuff. I don't have a problem with the county helping you out and doing something like this, because this is where I actually think governments, sometimes this is a project, like you said, if you were tearing that road out,
Right.
I don't know if I'd want the county to do that, because that's not something that we're necessarily set up to do. Everybody's like, you guys need to, no, new roads, and when you go to that extent, it's usually better to go bid it out.
Sure.
But for just a simple
And that's
overlay,
where the engineering costs come in and the bidding costs, all that kind of stuff. But with this deal, it's just a simple overlay, and I think it'd be,
I don't have a
And
problem.
I'm in the same position Kyle is. I want our legal team
Yep.
to.
Yeah, I just
say-
don't wanna get into Pavegate or that I'm competing with everybody and now I'm a contractor out there
No.
taking all their business. so.
And like you said, I think if you go through and you have that, I don't think there would be a problem in a mutual understanding agreement that's signed, that's put out. I don't think there's if it's a government to government, I don't believe there's a bid requirement.
No, and normally how we work, set them up is we have like a trade, so there's never really money trading hands. It's like we'll trade these services for that or this
Right.
equipment for that, where this is a little different. So one question I had was, could we possibly do it that their trade was in purchasing asphalt back to the county? So when they're purchasing the asphalt for this road, what our costs of equipment and stuff would be, could that be a trade in asphalt? So then we can asphalt, that would cover some costs in roads that we have. So you're trading,
Yeah, we'll need to
you're
do some
trading
digging on
services.
So for me personally, I know how you guys like to do trades. I would rather just have it cleaner.
Yeah.
I would rather just, to tell you the truth, and if people want to say, oh, you're doing that, no, this is just a simple, guys, this is the best and cheapest and most efficient thing for the taxpayer.
right.
This is for the taxpayers of Income as it is the taxpayers of the county. I would rather just say, this is what the cost was, this is what we did, this is very open and public. Have you guys had a meeting yet in the city to say, that's authorized that the county could do this work for you?
We did have a vote in the council to pursue this.
And,
Avenue.
and so for me personally, I would rather have it clean and just say, no, it cost $113,000 to do this. The county said, yes, we will do this while we're there, because this is not a rip out, remove and replace. This is just we're driving down the road and dumping some asphalt with our layer, and that's it.
Yeah.
Any concerns, Brian?
Just if there's anything kind of funky that way, just let me know ahead of time, and I'll go and research it before a decision's made.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I think right now the commission's on the right track, but it definitely, if you're looking at any conflicts or anything like that, I'd like to have a chance to really dig.
Well, we'll have to do an agreement on it, so you'll get that of what we're agreeing to do.
So when would you be able to do it?
Could you-
That's my other
That's
question.
the big
is,
one.
I mean, you got your schedule for the year, and come and interrupt partway through the year.
Depending on what the weather is, Mike could do it right after Pidcock that we're in the process of doing right now. We're not to paving yet, but hopefully in about a week we will be.
Right.
If they run the plants, if we have
They'll
halfway
run them
decent
as long as they can,
with weather this year.
wet for temperatures, and
40 degrees and rising is the asphalt.
is the ground temperature.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, they shut down the plant.
Yeah. Some years I've seen them run, when there was a big push, I've seen them run the 1st of December. But then other years, I've seen them shut down 15th October because it was so
So
bad.
what are you giving up to do this? I mean,
So that's where I said with asphalt or something is, I guess what I look at is we have to schedule it into our time, which we're completely full all the time anyway. But the other thing is if we do this with them, then Aramo's waiting in the whims. What other cities, so pretty soon they all, I have 3 roads that Aramo's gonna want to come to us and look at.
and we've been to Aramo and done some.
And we have before.
So they have no complaint.
And we have equipment right there, right now.
Yeah, it's
which is-
mobilized.
Which is kind of a different, if we had equipment right there in Aramo doing something, and they said, hey, while you're at it, then.
Well, we actually did that, I think, in Aramo when we were down there doing the highway. We actually
Yeah.
did some Aramo stuff because we had it down there.
Well, that's why we put the walking path out there in Lava,
Yeah.
or we did.
Well,
I mean, it's not like we haven't done things like this before.
No,
and
we have.
But my question to you is still, what in the county are we giving up? Is it essential that it has to be done this year, or could this fit in?
This could fit in, it'd either be in our paved schedule next summer,
the cities.
could possibly that be this fall, but I wouldn't guarantee the fall.
Well, and the other thing I look at too, I just thought about this. Do you get a remittance for your roads from the county for being in our road district? You get money.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do. While you are a county entity, you are not a county entity in certain aspects, that you are a road and bridge district that falls under the county purview. So for you to operate in those cities, I don't see it as like the city of Pocatello having paved gate. While you are, it says Bannock County on the side of the thing, you're Bannock County Road and Bridge. That's just like a roads district, just like Downey Swan Lake District. You are a road district. We remit monies to you. Now maybe that's the other thing too, is we just don't remit monies that year or something, I don't know, or however you do it, for that the cost less the cost. That's why I say I don't have a problem necessarily with you going down and doing this, because you're not leaving your jurisdiction. They're in your jurisdiction. And it's not like a county purview where
It's not like City of Pocatello going to
exactly,
somewhere.
exactly. You're in. They're part of the road and bridge. They're part of our district. That's what I mean. They get money from us to go
Well,
pave their roads anyway.
When I was mayor, I mean, when our plow would break down, you guys throw the blade down coming down Rapid Creek once in a while,
Yeah.
you know, to help.
See, and so that's why I say I don't look at it as different. I think if you were going over into Caribou County, I'd probably have. I'd be like, oh, absolutely not. But you're in the road now. If you wanted to go to Downey, probably not.
Different road district.
That's a different road district.
Yeah.
We would have to have a very serious conversation then. But where you guys are mobilized and you are there, I would prefer you guys, if you can do it. Again, it comes on where you're at,
Yeah.
and I mean, and you guys understand that too. that,
Sure,
you know.
you bet, yeah.
Terry, Andy, you guys' schedule, what's your input?
We would just, I mean, I could care less whether it's this fall or spring, as long as whatever's convenient to you. If we could get it done, we're willing to wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, there's a few little prep items where we have turnoffs and stuff in the asphalt. Can we just pave right over those and come back later and cut them out? Okay,
Yeah,
so
as
that
long
was-
as you have them located that you know where they're at.
Okay, so,
Just cut them out with concrete.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah, for our schedule to have a little bit of time like this, we could schedule it in.
how long will it take you to pay that?
Day down and day back.
2 days, 2.5 days.
Everybody pray for warm weather.
Yeah,
So, and it'll take us a couple days to do Pidcock, and so, I mean, as long as the weather's decent and we have the temperatures, we could probably fit it in this fall.
When are you looking to be done with Pidcock?
They're moving right along. We'll probably be paving, not next week, but the next.
Do you have capacity before Pidcock? If you're prepping, is your whole crew prepping, or is your
No, we
part
have-
crew?
We have other
Okay.
jobs
Well, I
going on.
just
yeah.
curious. I mean,
No, yeah, and then
you
paving.
need a
it-
test run to warm everything up to see if everybody's working. Go.
Paving also to get it done as quick as we do, it's everybody, it's the whole crew
right.
to get the asphalt hauled and stuff, but I don't have any complications with scheduling and stuff like that. I just wanted to know if that would, so what you would like to see is that if it's 200,000 or whatever, that's gonna be the city of Ingham paying that to the county.
Yes, I would prefer. Now, I mean, if you can work a trade, if it can be kept clean.
The only way why I was saying that is that we could get more roads paved in the county by saying, oh, now we have some more asphalt that we can
Yeah.
put out.
Now, and again, I think that's where, Brian, we need to probably have some research of what would be best. I would like the cleanest way possible, because then it just becomes, no, Income came to the road district and wants them to help pave the road. They have the equipment. That's what we're doing. We pave the road, have a good time.
So in essence, we're in agreement to move forward. If you look legally and you guys look at the contract or whatever
Okay.
it is, and then just present the contract back to us at a later date. But, I mean, if it fits in your schedule here in a month or less,
How many tons of asphalt were you looking at to do?
I don't know right offhand.
I actually think that most of your road companies, to tell you the truth right now, Kyle, would probably pass on something like this. Your companies that are big companies right now, they're booked from, I mean, they're out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And that's, I think, the biggest problem that we need to remember in government like this. A project like this, while it might seem big to us, you bring in some of the big, and they're like, yeah, we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that right now, where labor and prices and
What is
everything
it,
is.
two 12-foot driving lane, two 12-foot lanes a mile long?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and 2.5-inch lift.
Yeah.
so where are you at on sidewalks and stuff?
We have, from the end of the sidewalk on Rapid Creek Road right now, we've paid our engineer and have a shovel-ready plan from the end of the sidewalk to the elementary school. And there's a lot of wishes and wants. This $1.4 billion that the state has in surplus right now, there are a lot of places I'd like to spend some of that. So any kind of a grant that we could get for sidewalk, we do have a shovel-ready engineer.
Well, I'm just saying, if does that fit in any place with this, is in your plans?
I don't think
I
that we
mean,
could get a bid and a contractor and everything within a
Put together in
year,
time.
usually, for something like that, so.
The other thing too is something to think about out that area is lights. And not like big
I know-
street lights, but the
I know
smaller
you talked
lights.
about it.
Stuff to help,
I mean, if
because that's
it's-
one of the things that people, you know, I hate to say this,
Also
a
talk
lot of
about
people don't like the light
lighting
pollution,
lanes
so you
on
want the
that
down
side.
face lights. But at the same time, one of the things that in a lot of communities, the first thing that deters crime and other things is light.
Yeah,
And safety factors, my neighborhood, I live by 16th, or on 16th, by the Dome, and my neighborhood is so flippin' dark, you can't even see outside. But, and that's what people say is, lights, when you're digging in those sidewalks and doing that, if you can at least even run the empty conduit,
right,
get it all put in place, because that's the problem that some spots in Pocatello have, is they have to bore it and all that other stuff. It's way too
Right.
expensive, they can't do it. But if you're in the middle of tearing up your sidewalk, because there's no sidewalk, put that conduit in.
good idea. We've talked quite a bit about that.
Well, and I think a lot of the discussion, you know, Rapid Creek, we need to probably have some, I think that in Rapid Creek, as part of this, you know, we look at this in the future, is there probably needs to be some real serious conversations with Rapid Creek, you know, Jackson, Inman, all those up there. Like you said, all those four-wheelers in the back of trucks coming up every weekend and everything going on. I don't see it getting less busy up that way.
No,
And, you know, I think there needs to be probably some, that 83245
Yeah.
is the fastest growing zip code in Bannock County right now.
we have a couple things going on. We've received a grant, a $500,000 grant to put a sidewalk down Lincoln Street in front of the elementary school and across the old highway to the park.
Okay?
So we have that, I think it's a 2025, 2024 maybe,
Okay.
project that's.
Is that a
gonna
TAP
happen.
grant?
Yes. And we also received a grant as part of this transportation study for new signs. And these guys have just got in the signs. So all the signs in Eakin are going to be replaced.
Yeah, I think the growth rate of what it is for 83245, in 20 years, there'll be 25,000 people out there.
Don't tell me.
Just so you guys know.
We'll get that wall built then.
Let them return by then.
Well, but that's in all seriousness when it goes back to doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
We really should have, you know, start working on that.
Plan.
Green Canyon Road, I drove up that new Pidcock, or that
Yep.
new Coyote Hollow they just opened. That's beautiful. I mean, that's absolutely, you see why all those lots are sold already.
Yep,
And that road coming down, it's gonna get,
yep.
we need to have those conversations, especially out in Income. I get nervous with how fast it's gonna grow out there, that we're gonna be behind the curve.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
So where we're at right now is,
We'll get an agreement together, get it before you guys.
yep.
Thank you.
but plan on moving as fast as you can.
Okay.
If you get it this fall, I mean, we'll make sure that it's done. And then if not, the timetable's a little slower, but
Like I said, I'm leaving this afternoon for a week. I'll be back Tuesday night or Wednesday morning next week. And we have our council meeting on Thursday, so Brian, if there's anything that is legal that we need to, if we could have it for our council meeting next Thursday to put in front of our council, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I know Kyle's really good at getting that stuff to me too, so.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go forth and do great things.
Christie.
So this is just the invoice regarding Matt Virgil.
Is that what? Okay.
Whoa. I'm gonna stretch out on this one.
So, do you have a copy of that? They're in there. Oh, no? Okay, well, so the assessor had some money left over in a contract budget. And so she went ahead and entered into a contract with the same person that we had done before, Matt, that we all know. He does great work. And he came and he did the work for the assessor's office that she asked him to do, but there was never a contract brought before the commission as it should have been. So I don't know that it would have been something that we would have had you deny, but it was just a procedural issue was not
The
followed.
the
procedure was
problem,
not
yeah,
followed.
yeah.
But Matt has done the work. It's a $10,000 bill.
Yep.
He's done the work. And so I feel like we need to pay him and have a chat with the assessor's office about who can make contracts
Well-
with any sort of entity outside of
And I don't think there needs to be a conversation. I believe there needs to be a formal letter and basically a reprimand is almost where I'm at of, this is something that, while it is something I agree with, I would have, I mean, yeah, that's how it's done. The ability to bind the county into a contract is a enumerated power to the office of the commission, and it is done that way for the checks and balances of the system. It has nothing to do with whether I like the person or not like the person, but I'm just to the point where this is something you do not do. This is a violation of Idaho code. This technically should be something that the prosecutor's office should be looking at, and whether to determine if charges should be filed. It is a violation of Idaho code to bind the county to a contract. So,
I agree, though. Let's submit a letter. So it goes officially in a file of what is done, and we'll have Brian do that. I mean,
well, and I would have a letter come from the 3 county commissioners, and it's signed formally of this. This is not authorized. The assessor's office and the assessor is not authorized to bind the county to a contract per Idaho code. It's not 866. I'm trying to find it right now. That specifically says you don't get to do this. And it's not that I like to just have more paperwork. That's just simply the system. Because while there might have been monies appearing to be in their budget, maybe that budget had been drained because they hadn't had proper accounting. Did they go through the proper system? And that's the whole thing it comes back to.
but yes, we need to pay that bill,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
agreed.
Yeah, and again, we probably would have paid it.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is not a big deal. I mean, this is something we've got to have done. We're going to do it. We're not going to be derelict in our duty to make sure that's done. But you cannot bind the county. And that's something that I'm getting very irritated with, because there's been 2 or 3 times where people do this and they just don't think it's a big deal. Well, does the Board of County Commissioners request that the prosecuting attorney's office look into this and do that? Well, I'm not ready to go quite that far, but I am ready to send a letter saying, don't do this again. And it needs to be for public record, and it needs to be there that people know this, because apparently conversations aren't getting through.
So I talked to George Brown yesterday. He is going to be here Thursday just to give us a report
Okay.
of where we're at and what's going on.
Missed you.
Hey, welcome back.
Hat and glasses.
Thanks.
Anyway, I talked to him yesterday, and he said he'd be more than happy to come down Thursday and just give us a report of what's going on and where we're at.
Good.
Sounds good.
So
Okay.
we don't need that we don't, I guess. Do you want Sherry in that meeting? Do you want to talk about this at that meeting? Or
I wouldn't do it at that
not
meeting.
in front of the
Yeah.
State Tax Commission? Because I want to keep a good, Matt's done a great job over there, in my opinion, in trying to help. And I don't want to,
Honestly, the more we can use Matt, the more right we'll be with the state tax
Yes.
commission. But, you know,
okay.
but Terrell's not wrong.
Well, and like I said, it's just getting to the point where I don't know how many conversations or how many things you have. You don't get to go do this. And that was the problem when I came into office, that we were trying to make sure we cleaned up, because we had contracts
Well,
that all
that's
sorts
what
of
you
people had
tried to
signed.
do with the renovation.
Yeah.
Tried to go around us.
She broke a contract that got us in trouble.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right, we'll write a letter of information.
However you want to word it.
A letter of don't do this again, because I'm kind of irritated.
Okay? Thank you.
Do we have
But you wanna
that? Do we have
approve
the
that?
bill so we can approve it and sign it? Is it in there?
should-
That'd be Thursday.
I didn't see it in there.
Thursday is
Okay, I'll make sure it's in
It's in
there.
there
Thursday.
invoices.
Okay.
I'll make
There
sure
isn't
it's
any
in-
invoices in.
Right,
there.
okay, yeah. I'll make sure it's in there.
Okay. With that, Wes?
No, you're fine. You didn't bind us to a contract,
Have you
did
entered
you?
into a contract with, on behalf of the county?
If so, just turn around and start walking.
Okay, what you have in front of you is the 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant. This is a pass-through grant that comes from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to the state, and then it's distributed to the counties. And so those funds are identified for the operational expenses and the salary to maintain the Office of Emergency Management here in Bannock County.
Wasn't that easy?
Yep. I'm good. Everybody else good?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant as presented and authorized signature.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
Wes, I have a question for you though while you're here. You and I talked a little bit ago that you feel like Bannock County's leaving a lot of money on the table because we don't budget for some matching funds for grant. Could you just take 2 minutes and kind of talk about that? And the reason I ask is I'd kind of like to plant the seed that maybe next year for budget, we can kind of have that in the back of our heads and start looking at that a little bit more.
Sure. When the feds provide us the funds for operations and the things that we need to do from an emergency management perspective, when we start turning back those funds, and I think we normally turn back about 55K each year, they take those funds and it goes out into a pool for special projects. When the federal dollars start becoming tighter and they're less available, if we're not expending our funds that we have available, we have a high percentage of potential to lose those monies, and they may even want to take more. Right now, we're the 5th largest county within the state, and even smaller counties around us have 2 or 3 individuals running the emergency operations program. Right now, it's just the 3 of us, me, myself, and I. And there's a lot more that can be done if we had someone to come in, provide some administrative support and assistance to me in the things that we need to do within the Office of Emergency Management.
Great.
All right,
Well,
thank you.
I think on that, and I've had conversation on that in the past. I think that is something we need to just be cognizant of when we go into budgeting and maybe do a little bit more in-depth, you know, because that's something that we just learn as we go, I think, in some of the stuff of how we set that budget. But I think that's something we probably need to work on in around the April timeframe and make sure that we hit that. So make sure we keep that
Well, I just want to express my gratitude for you in the office. I mean, we went from a part-time to a full-time, and you've brought a lot of things forward that we've missed out on. And as we learn more about budget, about the process, and about that office, I think, yes, we need to, it's going to continue to improve. But thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yep.
It's great. Enjoy every minute of it.
Thank
Now,
you.
I'm still waiting some time with Carol when he gets a free opportunity, so we can talk more about the regional EOC and actually putting that in place.
Tell Christie to put it on his schedule somewhere. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wes.
Next, we have letters and notices. This is a notice of sale of Bannock County real property. This is one that we had signed like a week ago, but after investigation with the properties, some information come that day. So there's a change in some of the properties, but it's the same thing that we signed last week, but with some changes.
Christie just added the open bid price on there, that was missing from the original. I think that's all.
Yeah, that's what Christie mentioned to me. as
Okay. All right. So we just need to make a motion to re-sign these.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we re-sign the notice of sale of Bannock County real property as presented with the changes listed.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have salary rate approval forms.
All 5 billion of them?
Oh,
Well,
well,
actually, the others are still.
oh, whoops, that one, sorry. I was like, what?
Last week, we approved a bunch of them upon signature. Just the same motion this week, I'd say,
Yeah.
because you've signed them. I've
I haven't
signed
got to me.
75% of them.
And then you're done and I'll get them. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the salary rate approval forms as presented, and the salary rate approval forms for current employees upon the signature is convenient for the commission.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
I need to step out and take this real quick.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Then in the consent agenda, so we have salary rate approval forms, certificate of residency, and minutes for September 16th, 21st, 23rd, and 24th. Ernest. The rest are Ernie. It just keep going back and forth on me. Told Christie I couldn't sign them last week when I got that big bundle. It's got Ernest on it, doesn't have Ernie.
Just sign with the sloppier signature, no one will know.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented and the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. With that being said, we'll be at recess till 11 o'clock. We have a public hearing.